Hey, deserving listeners, sister wives, let's watch.
And I want to be supportive, so. I don't know. I feel like we just had a breakup conversation.
I'm glad we've gone this long so that we can be friends in the departure.
Yeah. 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 So, sounds over.
And this is the why. She's when I say she's to blame for everything, I'm not blaming her. But there's something that has drawn the wrath of jealousy from the public, the tabloids, from sister wives, something to go towards her where she's being blamed for that I did or that I didn't manage.
Yeah, I was suspecting that. I mean, I'd seen hints of that, and I've been referencing that I wondered if the dominant or a good portion of the audience was scapegoating Robin. And there's been talk among the adults in this family about scapegoating Robin, but it's it's overlapping, but it's a separate issue when you have the public that might be going after Robin. And I'm going to take a guess and say that the way in which people are talking about Robin lacks nuance or tentativeness, given that none of us know what's happening because we're watching an edited TV show. And I will say that I don't see other reality TV shows will indicate to me anyway that they're trying to tell a narrative, right? They'll have the ominous music, and actually they don't do that a lot on this show as a way of painting someone's normal statement in this very evil tone. And they'll Frankenstein a sentence together to make someone look bad or to emphasize something. This show, of course, edits and there's storytelling that they're doing, but it doesn't seem like if this show wanted to make Robin look evil, they could have done a lot of things, including just not showing the scenes where Robin, at least on paper, is really trying to help, in a variety of ways. So this confirms what I was wondering, and I have an answer because I have seen this in other arenas. The first thing I'll say is, so let's say that Robin is being attacked unfairly, maybe extremely. So I don't know if that's true. We would have to do research. We'd have to look at all the different things, and also, it's a matter of opinion that Robin does or does not deserve it. But I have observed in watching reality TV and seeing the typical online discourse that doesn't usually happen in my comment section, but I see it in other places, that a long time ago, our culture as a viewing audience decided that a major function of watching reality TV was for us as the audience to bully one of the cast members. And we would get all the things that bullies get out of bullying, which is to put someone else down so it makes us feel better about ourselves. And there's a lot of people feeling really shitty about themselves and will resort to anything, even if it's just temporary relief from their shame and low self-esteem and self-hatred. And even people that are pretty well adjusted have a little bit of that. And the shows hand that up to us on a platter, and for some people they have a deep need for it, and they go for it. And it's not just individual bullying, but it's collective bullying, which is even more effective because you are able to bully, and everyone is validating your bullying and not saying that you're a bully, and they're bullying too. Group bullying, mob bullying, is very satisfying and very psychologically fulfilling, but it's a very empty temporary measure on a very difficult issue that the individuals doing it collectively have. That's a huge accusation. I am just proposing a way of seeing it. It's the way that I see it. It has been confirmed over the past 5 years that I've been watching reality TV, very intensely and very intensely paying attention to what's happening, and also paying attention to the way people are talking. Sometimes, anger and judgment and criticism is justified. I don't know, and I don't see a lot of this in the bits that I see, that people are going after Cody for the way he's treating the kids. To me, that is unforgivable and clear and talked about. And he has no defense. He doesn't even refute the claims that he is neglecting his kids. I don't know each individual relationship with the kids outside of Robin's family, but I know enough to know that he is harming and he is rejecting for no reason. So that can, so I'm not saying that one cannot criticize. I would encourage everyone to not directly go after these individuals and to try to speak a little bit more carefully, because the individuals might come across it. I mean, you can certainly, that's what I try to do. I always talk as if the cast members are watching. Sometimes I am not as mindful of that, but I try to be. So, and I'm not holding back. I just don't see things that way. I just don't have those kinds of impulses to bully. And I don't use that word lightly. It is systematic mob bullying on the order of thousands of people on cast members. Some shows will purposely edit and provoke cast members so that they will be the bullied person. But this show doesn't seemingly do that. Another possibility as to why the audience, he says the tabloids, well, that's interesting. So tabloids too, whatever that means in today's environment, like journalists or something. Anyway, so another factor as to why they would be unfairly, which, we can't know for sure if it's unfair, but if we just go with that, is that Robin is the one, in a very simplistic way, Robin is the one seen in the show. I do not see it this way, but some might, that Robin gets the prize because he, at this point anyways, with her. I wouldn't be surprised if he systematically gets rid of her too. But I don't know. There hasn't been any movement that we've seen, but we haven't seen movement of him trying to retain his relationship with Robin. But anyway, so Robin, in a very simplistic way, can be seen as someone who got the prize. And that's such a silly, simplistic way of looking at it. At the very least, you would say, is he a prize? And then the second thing you'd say is, well, they're polygamous and anyway, so there's that. But another major factor is that sexism and misogyny is alive and well in our society, and regardless of the viewer's gender, they have internalized those messages. And Robin, I think, just represents the typical victim or target of misogyny. I think it's harder to go after Mary, in terms, I'm trying to think of the elements that are, that would differ, because I wonder if Robin was targeted early, because of not only that she's a woman, but because of the qualities that she will show the camera, like the fact that she's more likely to cry, she's more likely to be upset. She, from the very beginning, and we could argue as to whether or not each time that Robin would voice anger or criticism or prickliness, there were times when it wasn't justified or delivered well, but there were times when I think it was. And women are supposed to stay in their place. So you can have a woman watch the show, and because of the internalized messages of misogyny, they would attack Robin potentially because they're just following that script. And or they just got done being discriminated against all day long at work or in their family or in public, or they see messages, and without knowing it, they just want someone else to be the target, and so they will target. Now, if people are just on their couch watching the TV show and they're just yelling at the screen, that's one thing. But it's another thing to actively try to get validation and to mob attack and to go after them, to DM them, to try to contact them, like what seems to possibly be the person who went after Mary. Okay, so Janelle and the other phenomenon that I've observed is that the roles or the way that the audience sees the cast members is quickly established early in the collective. So even if Robin were to act completely different and prove herself not to be what everyone is accusing her to be, it doesn't change a thing because it has been established that she is blank. And I've seen that before too. In fact, I've started to notice that when I watch a new reality TV show that's new to everybody, like each season of Love is Blind is new, that the bits and pieces I see in the online discourse is that someone, I'm aware of it now, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not usually thinking this way, like as a rule, but every once in a while, I'll remember to think, ooh, we're at that place where none of us as an audience knows who is the jerk face. There will be a jerk face, either edited in, or we will collectively just decide who is the biggest jerk face, even if they're not that much of a jerk face. They're more of a jerk face according to the collective than anyone else, and it's whoever emerges early as the jerk face will be labeled that way. And regardless of what they do in the future, they're always the jerk face, or they're always the silly one, or they're always the stupid one, or they're always the plastic materialistic one, or they're always the narcissistic one, or they're always the mousy, or whatever. There's these roles, and this emulates what it's like to be in human systems. The same thing will happen, particularly in undifferentiated systems, a family system or a work social system or a friend social system, that individuals will be pigeonholed and you cannot break out of it no matter what you do. And that's what's happening in a different way with the collective of the audience with the cast members. So he is saying, I should be the one to blame, which is interesting. He's saying, I'm doing things. I mean, he's not saying directly I should be to blame, but he's saying, I am doing things, and it's weird that everyone's blaming her. The things that I've seen in terms of the data, and, I'm open if people have solid data that would justify the attacks on her. Now, I'm not talking about the Sister Wives attack, because, they have billion more data points than we would. And if Christine thinks that Robin is a jerk face, then I just have to trust that because I don't know. But in terms of what we have seen, in terms of what I have seen, and maybe there's other stuff that y'all have seen, like other interviews or something, but I get the impression there's not a lot of extra stuff outside of the show. Anyway, maybe there is, but especially with the Mary catfish thing, receipts and stuff, I don't know. So for us as an audience, early on, I think Robin was established, maybe because she was the new, so elements of Robin that I think make it easier to attack her is that she was the favored one even before it looked like she was favored, because he was courting her and married her. And she was the new, we have these templates. We all we were all in school, and there was a new kid. And in the classroom, if there's a lot of undifferentiation and there's some insecure kids in the classroom, everyone understands that a really easy victim is the new kid in the classroom. And some of you new kids that went to school and were the new kid, what that was like, to just try to blend in and not stick out and not do anything, and to just be targeted because you're alone. You don't have any allies. So I think there's a possibility that was going on. And I'm not accusing you of anything. In fact, I'm guessing y'all have much more nuanced points of view if you're watching my channel, because I have a feeling that the vast majority of the audience that watches this show and other shows can't tolerate my channel because I don't participate in that. And maybe it's because my takes are bad or something. I don't know. I mean, it's all just a matter of opinion. But one way to look at it is that I will not participate in the bullying. I will point out that each of them have positive qualities and that we can have compassion for all of them, especially this family. I mean, there's other reality TV shows where I will say, I don't know, like with Ed, who I still have compassion for, but his ongoing just relentless behavior with Liz, it's unredeemable. And I'll point it out. So, but I don't think anyone should be bullying him. I don't think anyone should be going after him or Liz, particularly Liz. Anyway, so I think that's another. I'm just thinking off the top of my head because it's been kind of rolling around in there. And there are other examples in society. I'm not going to name the celebrities or the public figures who also have incurred this mechanism in our culture, but they are often women, and they are often tabloid focus, and but sometimes it's a man, but the man has to have some other oppressive identity, like maybe he's overweight or something. At the very least, most of the like, again, I won't name names because I'm going to take a guess and say that some of y'all hate these public figures with a passion, and with some of those public figures that collectively everyone has agreed is an absolute horrible human being, I will look into it and be like, why there must be a reason why everyone hates this person. What did they do? And I'll watch a documentary breakdown where the documentarian or the YouTuber is actually against this person too. And they'll lay out all the bullet points. And I'm like, I'll get to the end. I'll be like, that's it? That's it. And most of that was spun to make them look bad. So you're telling me that collectively the entire world hates that one woman because of that? Like, wow. But the system needs a scapegoat. The system needs someone to be sacrificed so that everyone else can feel better. And if I'm coming across as angry, I am. I'm angry on behalf of all of those bullying victims. You can criticize Robin. You can say, I don't like that, or I didn't like that. When she said to Christine, that's a lie. That was uncalled for. I was crossing the line. That was certainly different than what a lot of other people would say to their faces, by the way. That wasn't okay. But it certainly wasn't on the level of, say, like what Ed does or what Sean Diddy Combs is doing. You know what I mean? So anyway, he's confirming because I've been mostly avoiding, which I plan to remedy once I get through all the seasons. I plan on actually going to the online forums and just seeing, and it'd be funny if I go there and all my assumptions are wrong, or they point out some detail that I'm like, oh, everything I said was wrong because I didn't pick up on that. So, who knows? But so if there's anything like that, I hope you forgive me because I can't, because, I started watching season 1 in between season 18 and 19. And so if I went online, I'm guessing things would be spoiled. So I just couldn't do it. Anyway. So yeah, tell me what you think about that. It's not that big of a deal because, public figures and hopefully these mob bully victims have ways of coping. It's not the end of the world, right? There's worse things that could happen to your life. It's certainly not pleasant. And again, maybe they deserve it. I don't know. But it as a larger phenomenon, what it points to is bullying in general, and that almost never does a bully think of themselves as a bully. And the same mechanism plays out on the playground, at work, in a larger family system, like with extended family. Undifferentiated systems and undifferentiated people will elect someone, and sometimes that person even unconsciously volunteers themselves to be the sacrificial lamb so that everyone else can feel temporarily better about themselves. And that's just not okay. I have worked with clients who the only reason why we are talking about their, the sole reason why they are suffering today as an adult is only because they were bullied, not because they were abused growing up, not because they were attacked by a romantic partner or something, only because they were systematically bullied at school. And it's the same phenomenon, and it's horrible. And for me to, I think, watch, I don't know, the same thing happening between the audience of a show that I like to watch. I feel like I'm one of the audience members. And to feel like I'm on the side of the fence that's doing that to someone, I can't abide that. It's not okay. It's not okay. And I don't care if people hate me for saying that, if they're like, I'm guessing for some of you, you've done that. And you think I'm chastising you, and your defenses are coming in, and maybe rightfully so, maybe I'm wrong, but you might be, you might have been sitting here thinking, well, he's wrong because he doesn't know, or he's biased or something. If Robin was a guy, I'm sure there'd be some people say, well, of course he's like that because, he's biased against women. I get that sometimes, not frequently, but, and again, maybe I'm wrong. I'm old and wise enough to know that not all of my takes are fantastic, that I am wrong sometimes. And at the very least, I'm just one person with one point of view, but I am passionate about protecting someone who's being mistreated in any forum, even this one. I don't gain anything by sticking up. I'm not even sticking up for Robin. I don't want people to be unfairly treated. I don't gain anything from that. If anything, my numbers would go up if I participate. I don't know that for sure. I might lose some of you, but I would gain, I'm guessing, more than I would lose. I've never really thought about it. I don't even know if that's true, but I don't care. There are higher principles in life, and so be it. If people leave my channel, or if they don't like what I'm saying, or they hate me or something, so be it. So be it. Now, I'm at the end of season 18. If in season 19, Robin reveals her true colors as she's a complete asshole, then I'll retract everything I said. This is an ad by BetterHelp. And if you sign up, please use the link below because that really helps us out. So these days, when it comes to mental health, there's a lot of guidance and advice out there, right? From detoxes to cold plunges and other sorts of things like that. But how do you know what would work for you personally? In recent years, I've had to spend a lot of time debunking a lot of myths that clients have absorbed from TikTok and Facebook. So a well-trained ethical therapist can be a wonderful resource when it comes to sifting through all that information and developing a personalized treatment plan for you. Well, a good option to find a therapist is at BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, it's definitely worth giving a try. They have over 35,000 therapists with a wide variety of styles. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. So, talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Kirk. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Kirk.
Or the bad relationship I had with one wife, that's Robin's fault because I had a good relationship with her. There was a shift of blame towards Robin that got to the point where it was making me so angry that I was getting to the point where if you had a complaint about her, I'd be like, shut up, I will punch you in the mouth. I was getting sick of the complaint.
Yikes. Threats of violence to his wives, I think. So it's interesting to think, and I'll stop yammering, but that if he was absorbing the tabloids, as he puts it, and then Christine has a complaint against Robin that is justifiable, and he's primed to get upset about that, and because he can't go after the tabloids, he can't go after the audience, but he can go after Christine. I wonder if that was an aggravant in those marriages. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.